I don't know why I'm posting this. I guess it's because it already happened and I can't remember what I saw, and every time I try to explain it to anyone, they either laugh or they look at me like I'm doing some weird bit. But see, that's the thing though. I'm not. I'm just tired of being the only person that knows about this. This started in the Pingu community. You know, the old corner of the internet where people traded clips and made those lost episodes threads like it was a scavenger hunt. Very vast majority of them were creepypasta related. In 2010, I was the kind of person who would download anything that looked like it might be real. I kept a folder called Pingu Unsorted, and I labeled files stupidly, like that meant something. Why stupidly, you ask? Don't worry, I'll get to that later. Just give me a sec. One night, and I mean one really late night at that, I was scrolling through a thread with this dead link title. It was like, somewhere along the lines of, anyone got that weird ISO file of Pingu? It's supposed to be some deleted scene or whatever, but it won't mount. People said it was a hoax. Some said it was a corrupted rip of an old DVD. Someone else claimed it was from before the animators got rid of the placeholder models. The file name was PinguEP56.iso. It didn't stop me from downloading it, I can tell you right now. It was small for an ISO file. Way smaller than I expected. Like a couple hundred megabytes or so. The checksum in the post was wrong by a few digits, but the comments were like, lol, don't worry about it, it still works. Immediately right off the bat, that should have been my first stop sign. When I got it, my drive had that familiar click in the background, like the computer was excited even before I touched anything. I remember thinking that was stupid, but I watched my disk indicator anyway, and it really did spike for a minute and then settle. I tried to mount it like any other ISO file. But for some reason, Windows just didn't. It wasn't even the normal, could not mount, message that would usually pop up any other time this would happen. It mounted halfway, like something was pretending to become a disk. The drive letter appeared for a second, then disappeared. Then it appeared again, but the files didn't make sense. It listed things like video_ts/ and audio_ts/, which I expected, but the folder sizes were inconsistent, like they were being rewritten while I looked at them. I took screenshots because I didn't trust my memory. In the root directory, there were only 3 items: PinguEP56.iso, PinguEP56.bup, PinguEP56.vob. The names were clean, like a factory rip. The weird part was the internal timestamps. Everything was stamped in a way that didn't match the Pingu release years. The date modified was 2010, August 14th, 3:12 a.m., for all 3. That's not when I downloaded it. That's when it was made, according to the ISO file. I clicked PinguEP56.vob without thinking too hard. Well, that was a dumb decision. I mean, I know I didn't have enough room for a second thought, but dang. I still look back to me doing that. I'm like, what was I thinking? The player opened, loaded a thumbnail frame, and then the screen went dark except for a block of static that looked too crisp for static, like it had edges. Like it was a picture of static instead of noise. It was like someone had taken a television off air and compressed it into a single frame. Then after a few seconds, it started playing. At first it looked like normal Pingu. Snow, the little zigzag footprints, the harsh little winter light. The camera felt like it was set in that same low angle the show uses sometimes. I recognized the background textures. I recognized the rhythm of the audio. Pingu's voice. The way the audio cuts as if the episode was edited for impact. No, that wasn't one of the things that made the episode stand out from all the other episodes of the show. That's just what usually happens in them. But something was off. The first minute wasn't even an episode. It was like a rehearsal recording someone forgot to trim out. Pingu would begin to move, and then the movement would stop mid-gesture. Like the animation was being rewound at random intervals. There was also a strange thing with sound. When Pingu made his usual noise, it came through like a muffled radio. Not from a speaker, but from a distance. like the mic had been covered. Then every few seconds, there was a faint click, like someone turning a page in a book. I paused it. I checked my volume. Normal. I unpaused it. It kept playing like nothing had happened. I was this close to thinking I was going crazy. I'm not even joking with you, bruh. I cannot stress how close I was enough. I started from the beginning again, because that's how you try to make sense of something weird. Rewind until it behaves. That's when I noticed the subtitles. Pingu doesn't have subtitles in the raw footage I'd seen, but this VOB had a text track. It wasn't a standard SRT file that I could extract. It was embedded, and it only showed up in certain players. I used VLC Media Player because it's forgiving. The subtitles were short lines, but they weren't English. They looked like English typed with the wrong keyboard layout, so it read like gibberish until you stared long enough. Then it started to resolve in a way that made my stomach drop. I wish that it was just because the lines were not dialogue from Pingu. I could imagine someone wishing the same. Yeah. They were file-like messages. Warnings, system prompts. Like the subtitle track was treating the episode as a device of some sort. I remember the first line clearly, because it was the moment I felt something watching me. It said, playback start. The next line said, confirm you can see this. Then, do not exit the loop. I know how it sounds. I know, it sounds unbelievable. But it really was on screen. It ran in the same timing as the animation, even when Pingu stopped moving. The static block would appear every time the subtitles advanced, like the video needed interference to deliver the text. At that point, I tried to stop it completely. I pressed pause. Then I pressed stop. The video player stayed stopped, but the screen didn't freeze. The snow continued to drift in the frame as if the animation wasn't paused. The audio too. My laptop made a soft humming sound, and the faint radio-like voice continued even though the progress bar didn't move. I was low-key almost starting to think ransomware was installed into my computer. I minimized the player. I opened Task Manager. The VLC Media Player process was still active. Normal CPU usage. But when I killed it, the drive letter flickered again like it was responding to input. I ended the process. The entire computer screen went black, and I haven't even turned it off yet. Then I noticed my own desktop wallpaper had changed after it returned. It was subtle at first. I had a picture of a penguin plush I bought years earlier. Suddenly there was static over it. A thin veil of noise, like a screen filmed by smoke. I opened the file locations folder and realized the wallpaper image itself wasn't corrupted in size. It was the same file. But the pixels weren't. It was almost like it had been overwritten without being replaced. I unplugged my external hard drive, because I thought it might have already copied something. I scanned with the antivirus feature on the laptop. Everything came back clean. It didn't feel like ransomware or malware. It felt like a message delivered through the format itself. I told myself it was just a fake, lost episode, with weird subtitle text. This segued into me hunting for other copies. A few days later, I searched my browser history and found the thread again, but the post was gone. The link I downloaded from didn't work anymore. But cached pages sometimes still load. I tried the cache, and the page was still there, except the content had been altered. It didn't list PinguEP56.iso anymore. It listed PinguEP56. Like the file name had lost the extension. Like someone removed .iso from the internet's memory. Some of the comments were still visible though, and they made me nauseous because I recognized the usernames. Only now the comments read like panic posts written by people who'd already tried to get out. One comment said, "If it mounts halfway, do not let it play. The subtitles are not part of the ISO file, they're coming from the disk." Another said, "I watched it once and my keyboard started typing playback start in every text field. That didn't happen to me, but as I read it, I felt a pressure in my chest like when your ears pop on a plane." I hadn't told anyone at that time. I didn't screenshot much. I didn't record audio either. I only had those few screenshots of the file structure and the subtitles I'd forced myself to look away from. But I kept thinking about the date stamp. 2010, August 14th. That was the date modified on the file structure. Not necessarily the date it was uploaded though. Especially not necessarily the date it was created. But it was the only known number in the whole thing, so of course my mind latched onto it. I checked my system's timeline. I checked the creation dates for files around the time I downloaded it. The VOB and IFO files had internal timestamps matching 2010 August 14th. Everything else around that time on my machine was correct to the day I downloaded. So it wasn't just my system clock. Something about the disk had been fixed to that date, like a pin. I didn't open it again for a week. Ahem, during that week, I kept catching tiny glitches. The kind you ignore at first. A video buffering where it shouldn't buffer, a sound file playing half a second early, a browser page that loaded and then rewound as if the scroll had been jerked backward. But the glitches always felt timed. Like they were lining up with an episode. Oh man, if someone thought beyond how impossible this sounded to me. Then it got worse. I was watching another Pingu clip. One I knew. The kind with the same comedic timing where the scene loops cleanly into the next one. Halfway through, the audio cut out. Not like buffering. Like the track was swapped. For a moment, instead of the episode's sound, I heard that muffled radio voice again. But only thing that was different this time was that it was now faint, layered, like multiple takes overlapping each other badly. And then in my headphones, a whisper of the same subtitle text track, only this time it wasn't on screen. It was in the audio. The word was clear anyway. I jerked my head away from my laptop. My eyes landed on my monitor and I saw Pingu standing in my wallpaper static. Not literally standing, like a full model placed into the image. It was more like the static veil had formed shapes. The outline of a Pingu body, the round head, the little arms. It lasted maybe 2 seconds and then the wallpaper returned to normal. I'm gonna be dumbfounded if this isn't ransomware, because it seems like it's slowly evolving into that. But my heart didn't reset. I couldn't sleep. The next time I tried to delete the ISO file, my file manager wouldn't cooperate. It said it was in use. I'd be lying if I said that made any sense. I hadn't even opened it yet. I checked processes. Nothing. When I tried again, the deletion progress bar moved in reverse. It's hard to explain that without sounding like I'm inventing it, but it happened. The file got smaller and larger, as if something was being rewritten each time I clicked. Like the ISO file was trying to reassemble itself from whatever I pulled at it. I finally pulled the plug on my machine mid-attempt. I didn't do anything smart. I didn't take precautions. I just wanted it to stop for once. At least just once. When I turned it back on, there was a new file in the folder. I didn't create it. I don't remember creating it. I definitely don't recall creating it for crap. It was just there, for some reason. I have no idea why. It just does. It had no extension. Just a name, EP56.odd. Its size was 0 kilobytes, but the file properties window said it had beta inside. The size on disk was a few megabytes, like the allocation table had something stored that Windows refused to show. I opened it with a hex viewer. It displayed a familiar pattern, video headers, audio blocks, the kind of structure you'd expect if someone extracted pieces incorrectly. Except every few kilobytes, there was repeated text, encoded in a way that didn't make sense for media. Well, let's just say, at least in my opinion, it didn't. Playback start. Do not exit the loop. Confirm you can see this. The messages were there like it wasn't just metadata. More like it was embedded into the media itself. This isn't even, can I even call this ransomware anymore? It literally seems more like something more ulterior than that. And no, I don't mean, just ulterior, as in, ulterior motives. I mean it was like, borderline 100 times more ulterior than that. I tried to format the file. I tried different players. Nothing worked the way it should. It didn't behave like a corrupted ISO file. It behaved like a device emulating corruption. At some point, I got curious again. I know that's what people do. They don't learn. They poke it harder. I told myself I would only extract the VOB file, and then view it offline, with the subtitle track disabled, so I could prove it was a glitch in my player or my settings. I used FFmpeg to remux it. The command succeeded, but the output video was wrong. Frames skipped not because of bitrate. Frames skipped because entire moments were missing, like someone cut out minutes and stitched the leftovers. In the gap frames, the static block returned. But instead of random snow, it showed tiny details of a room I recognized. My frickin' room. My frickin' exact room in my exact frickin' house in all its glory. The only room in the house I sleep in. Not in a cinematic way, not like a security camera. It was worse. It was static that took the shape of objects I couldn't see on any visible capture. The outline of my desk. The angle of my chair. The corner of my bookshelf. And in the static, there was always the same small motion. The slight shift of a camera lens like someone adjusting focus. Then my monitor would go black for a fraction of a second, and the Pingu episode sound would resume like nothing happened. I got so angry, I slammed my hands on the desk. The keyboard clacked, and for a split second, I saw something on my screen that wasn't there before. A text cursor started blinking in a blank field, as if I had opened a new document. Which, surprise surprise, I hadn't. I don't even remember opening any editor. I looked away to the keyboard, then back. The cursor blinked again. Then letters appeared, typed slowly, with the wrong pace, and the wrong spacing, like a machine learning to mimic a human. This just escalated to an AI trying to hack my laptop. I can't frickin' breathe. Playback start. I didn't touch the keys. My hands were still in the air. I shut the laptop down again and put it under a blanket, like I could hide it from the thing inside the ISO file. The next day, I drove to my friend's house, because I couldn't stand being alone with it. I told myself I needed distance. We sat on his couch while I tried to convince him it was a prank, even though it was far from one, mind you. I brought a hard drive with the ISO file still on it, because I couldn't delete it and didn't want to risk losing evidence. I connected it to his desktop. We double-clicked the file. It didn't mount. Not like mine did. It didn't show the file structure. It didn't show anything at all. Instead, his monitor displayed a blue screen of no signal for 3 seconds, then returned to the desktop with a new wallpaper. Same static veil. Same outline. Pingu's head, a little too close. Like someone had leaned into the screen. His speakers emitted the faint click, the page-turn sound. Then his keyboard typed without him touching it. Confirm you can see this. He turned pale as heck. He didn't try to stop it. He just stared with his mouth slightly open, like he couldn't decide whether this was real or whether denial would kill him. I unplugged the drive so fast, my hand hurt. After that, the wallpaper on his machine went back to normal within a minute, but the typed sentence remained in a random text file in his user folder. It didn't exist the day before. It was titled something generic, like notes, and inside it, at the bottom, was that same phrase like a timestamp. Confirm you can see this. I swear to God we didn't sleep that night. We didn't talk much. Every once in a while, we'd hear faint sounds from the machines. The soft click, the humming audio residue, like our electronics were still remembering the ISO file, still trying to finish the playback. Despite the fact that they were clearly not turned on at all. So yeah, I threw the hard drive away the next morning. I don't mean metaphorically. I took it to a recycling center and watched them collect it in a bin. And yet today, about 16 years later, I still get messages sometimes. Not from websites. Not from notifications. Just little disruptions. A new folder appears with nonsense names. A media player opens a file I never downloaded. My browser history has a cached link I don't recall saving. Every time I try to check it, it's like the internet itself pretends the file never had an extension. PinguEP56.iso is not something I can find anymore. But the date of the only 3 versions of it is stuck in my head like a thumbtack. 2010, August 14th. The day the disk decided it didn't matter what I did, because it already had the shape of my attention. I'm posting because I need to say it out loud to someone else, I guess. If you stumble across a file called PinguEP56.iso, don't download it. Don't even open it, just to check. If it mounts halfway, and subtitles appear that aren't dialogue and the static looks way more clean than it's supposed to, stop looking. Because once you see the text on screen, it learns what you can perceive. And it won't let you exit the loop.